Hey guys, it's Tom from Get Licensed. We're going to be looking today at a massive question for those wanting to work in the security industry, and that's how do you actually apply for your license? We get asked this question loads of the time on the courses and people emailing into us asking us questions on Intercom. So I thought, it's a Wednesday afternoon, what I'd do is I would take some time to show you the best way of applying for this license. So you can do it the first time, you're not going to make any mistakes, which means that when you apply for your license the first time, you're going to get that license through and you can start working as quick as possible, because that's what everyone wants. Okay, so the first stage is to go to the Security Industry Authority website and to go to the individual licensing bit. This is where they'll give you all the information about applying for a license and whether you're doing that through an employer or whether you're doing that for yourself. There are slight differences with those. We do have articles on those on our site, so if you are looking to see which one will be right for you, go and check those out. So go through and have a look on this page. There are the differences, but if you're doing it yourself, this is where we're going to focus in this video today. We're going to look at how on your own you apply for your SIA license. So once you've gone through all this information, you need to get everything ready beforehand. You need to know you've got all that information, because all you're going to do, if you don't have that information the SIA need when you're going to apply, they're just going to reject it or send it back to you, and it just adds time and effort. So that's the point in this video, to get you guys that license the first time you're going to sail through your application process for your SIA license. So once you've read through this stuff, you've got everything ready, you're ready to apply. So what you need to do is you need to create an account with the SIA. This is going to be where you do your application, but it's also going to be where, if they need any more information, also where your licenses are stored once they're approved. So this is going to be your kind of license portal. It's where you can check on things, and come to renewal time, you can renew from here too. So we log in, and this is your dashboard. So this is the dashboard of your SIA portal. It shows all the licenses you hold. It also shows your applications. So if you have applications, you've stopped halfway through, you've needed to check something, they're going to be saved here, so you can always have one available to you. And if you can come back, pick up a draft, and then finish it off and then do your application. So don't think you have to do it all in one go. You don't have to do it all in one go. You can come back to it at a later date. So you can either edit your application if you're halfway through, or you can start a new application. So we're going to start a new application today. So the first thing you see is, as I said earlier, that I want to pay for myself or someone's paying for me. Now, as I said, we're going to do this video as I want to pay for myself. Go with this option. So now you're in, and now you're in your SIA license application flow. From here, this is all that's standing in between you and having that badge on your arm. So it's an exciting moment. You've done your course, you've put your effort in, you've passed, so this is it. So the first thing you're going to see is this privacy notice. This is where they're going to go through the things they're going to do. So because there's quite a lot of checks that happen from the SIA side, so they verify your identity using Experian, criminality checks. They're also going to check that you hold the valid qualification, obviously, so that's on their back-end system. Mental health, right to work, and conviction histories. So they do quite a lot of checks, and you need to agree to those before you can head on with the application. So once you've done that, you're in the application procedure. This is where you need to tell them about you. So this is your personal information you need to give them first. So then you need to fill in your surname or your family name, your full name and your middle names. Remember, these need to be broken out. So your full name is just your full name. Middle name is anything that comes in the middle, and your family name is the last name. If you split these out, this is the information the SIA hold on you. So when they run their checks to check that you have the license, if you fill this in differently to what they hold, they're not going to be able to link you with your qualification. So in our years of experience of seeing people doing these applications and having queries that come into us, one of the main things we notice is that sometimes the system gets a little bit confused with forenames and middle names. So if you fill in your full name and your middle names, and the system doesn't seem to recognize you, a quick workaround for that can be putting your full name and your middle names in the forename box. This sometimes can be just because the way the SIA system has recorded your name as having your middle names in your forename. It may be worth that when you're applying for the license, if this error comes up, they can't find you, give that a go. If not, always advise to call the SIA. They can always help you. They can see what's going on in the system. So then you fill in this, your gender. Obviously your national insurance number needs to go in there along with your date of birth. Town of birth, nationality, and any other countries you hold citizenship. This is so they can know who you are and get a bit about you. So once you've filled that information in, you're then going to go on to more about your actual identity. Okay, so the next step is identity information. This is, I know you've just filled in your who you are information, but this is your kind of formal identification. So this is, if you hold a driving license, you can add that there. This gives them an additional ID check. Also, if you're a current passport holder, you put that information there. So once you click yes, this drops down with a menu and you fill your information in. The next step is old identities. I guess you could say it's other names. So it's if you've been known by another name. So marriage, depot, changing your names. Maybe you had a great idea when you were 23 that you changed your name, one of those. But you need to put these in here because obviously they need to know a bit about your history. So if you change your name, they need to know that you did that. The next is address history. This is always a thing when you fill stuff in. They need to know a bit about you. But this, they need 5 years. They need 5 years of your address history, and they need that to go all the way back for the 5 years. This includes, by the way, any time overseas. You put overseas addresses in there. There is this thing at the bottom where you need to request an exception. This is only if you literally didn't have an address. So not overseas. We get some people trying to put their overseas addresses for an exception. No, it's literally if you didn't have an address. So you add those in for 5 years. Some people it's one house, some people it's two, could be loads, but you need to get them all in there to cover that 5-year period. So this next bit, the type of license, this is a bit that people quite often actually go wrong. So we're going to take a bit of time to get this right. So you need to choose first of all between a frontline and a non-frontline license. So a frontline license is if you're going to be working as a door supervisor or a CCTV operative, if you're doing the work. Non-frontline is if you're going to be managing people doing the work. So for most people, it's a frontline license you require because actually a non-frontline license means you could never do the work. So most, even in the management capacity, will get those frontline licenses so they can do the work. So once you click this frontline license, you tell them you want to work on the frontline. This then drops down, and this is all the licenses that the SIA actually allow you to do. So just to say that this isn't the licenses you want to have, this is the ones that you have the qualifications to apply for. So we do get some people, we see people that have chosen close protection, key holding, vehicle immobilization, but if you don't have the qualification, they will know this and they will reject your application. So just the license you're applying for is the qualification you hold. So you've done a door supervisor course, you click the door supervisor button. You've done a CCTV operative course, you click the CCTV button. Let's say we've done a door supervisor course, you click that and then you save it next. You've told them the license you are attaching to this qualification. It's frontline and it's a door supervisor license. Okay, so now you've told them who you are, where you've lived, and which license you want to get attached to your application. The next couple of sections are the really serious ones. These are the ones that have the real impact on whether you get accepted, warning, or rejected application. So take your time with these, make sure you get everything down, make sure you're accurate, and make sure that you give them all the information they need. So the first one is your criminality information. They will do a DBS check, a background check. So you need to give them permission to do this, but that happens in a bit in the declaration. But they can check in the UK your criminality history. If you're a UK citizen, you've lived outside the UK for 6 months continuously, you need to get an overseas criminality check to cover those 6 months. So remember that this is what we were saying about make sure you're prepared for your SIA license application, because you will need to provide them with this before they can go forward and before you can even apply for your license. There are some questions here. So have you had a conviction? Have you been charged with an offence? You go through this. This is where you tell them that you give them access to your DBS results, they can see your DBS results, and that they are okay to do this for you, because you don't have to do this. The SIA will do your DBS check for you. Guys, also if you're worrying about whether you'll be accepted with a criminal record, whether you won't be, we do have a video on this, so that's going to come up here. Click that and this will take you through the steps of what the SIA look at when they are making a decision on whether you are accepted or not with a criminal record. So check that video out and you'll get the answers you need. So the next one is mental health. So obviously working with the public, this is quite a big thing. It's almost the same, you know, the criminality thing. So they do look for violent offences. Similarly, they need to check that you haven't got a bad past with mental health. This isn't a discriminatory thing. This is just a thing that they need for public safeguarding, which is the point of the SIA, to check these things. On here, have you been detained under mental health legislation? This is basically whether you have been sectioned under the Mental Health Act. If you say no, obviously we can move on. If it's yes, they will ask you further details and you may even need to provide evidence and stuff like that. But for most people, this is an issue, and if it is, they do take this into account, mitigating factors. So don't worry about it, you still can get licensed. Finally, and you're on the last step here, is your declaration. This is saying that all your information is correct, you've not misled anyone, this is a legally binding document now that what you provided is real and accurate to the SIA. So when you click agree on this button, you're binding yourself to that contract. Also, when you click agree, if you have missed any fields, that's going to come up and tell you that. So that's your application done. So let's have a look at the rest of this dashboard, because you will be coming back to this after your application's in. So your dashboard, as you can see, it's got home. This takes you to the page we saw with the draft applications. It'll also actually show you, once you complete your application, it will show you a completed application. And it has a little thing that tells you where it is in the process. The next is my messages. This is the section where if the SIA require more information or anything else from you, they will message you in your messages inbox and ask you for that information, and then you just need to reply with the information they need. My licenses, this is once you have your license, you can actually come and check renewal dates. It gives you all the information about it. And then my applications is where you can see the process of your application. So this is pretty much while you hold your license and in your application procedure, you're going to be checking back on here. So make sure you do, because they may need extra information from you and you need to be ready to give them that to speed up this process. So what comes next? Once you've got that application on here, done with our help, first time you're going to sail through. So normally the SIA say within about 21 working days. Can be quicker, can be longer, it does depend on the complexity of your application. But if your license application is clean, what they do is they send you a number that you can use to work before your badge actually arrives. So that can be really quickly come through. That's 10 days maybe, again, depending on your application. So you can use that to work. You can show that to an employer and you are licensed to do door supervision work if that's the license you've applied for, CCTV operative work if that's what you've applied for. If, however, the SIA give you warnings on your application, this means they need more information from you. So this means they might need, you haven't given them your overseas criminality checks, or they're not quite right. So they'll give you a warning and they'll ask you to provide them with more. If they reject your license application, depending on what they reject it for, you can appeal. You can say, I don't think this was the right decision and here's why, with character references and stuff like that. So you do have that appeal process, but that only is a one-time thing. You can't keep appealing against it. Their decision is almost final and you get to have your say on it. So guys, get applying for your license. If you haven't got the course to get the license yet, go check out those videos and they'll tell you how to get that. But if you're applying for the license, let us know how it goes in the comments. Or If you have a question, let me know in the comments and I'll come back to you with an answer. But guys, good luck with your applications and well done for getting licensed.